Welcome back, VINO Live from the VINovation studio. As always, Cassandra, the wine manager here at VINovations, is here with me, Chef Kev D. We're going to make a fun holiday, fall, winter recipe for you. And we're going to pair a couple wines. We're going to make a side dish. VINO Live. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this. So our first dish is going to be a Chateaubriand, okay, which is a fancy way in French of saying whole roasted beef tenderloin. Okay, so we have a hot pan, a little olive oil, not much as always, just a little so it won't stick. This is a non-stick pan. And we have a cut of tenderloin here. When you go to the butcher, you ask for the barrel cut or the center cut of a tenderloin. He'll clean it for you. He'll give you this nice chunk. This feed 4 or 5 people depending on how hungry they are.
That piece alone?
This piece alone,
Wow.
Because we're going to slice it thin at the end and fan it out and put it on top of some vegetables. So we have our Chateaubriand. We have a little bit of salt and pepper. We want to get a nice bit of salt and pepper all around there. We're going to take a little bit of rosemary, just a little because it tends to burn, just for a little aromatic flavor. Run a knife over it. Put some on that side. A little on that side, and then we're going to take the whole thing and put it right in our hot pan. Perfect. What we're doing is, like you've seen me do before, is we're sealing in all the juices. We're going to sear it on all sides, and then we're going to pop it in the oven. And then while we're doing that, what's our first wine tonight?
All right, so I chose 2 different wines to pair with this, whether you're a white drinker or a red drinker. The first pairing is going to be Elqui River. This is a Chilean Chardonnay, so we'll take a little taste of that to go. So this is actually a vineyard called VINO Live, which is the first established vineyard in this area in Chile. So they're set in the West Indies, and they have the river running straight through. So they have a lot of fog in the mornings, but also sun all the way through the day. So this is not going to be too overly oaked. They actually only do about 4 months of French oak at the very end of their process. So it's still got like a lot of, like, interestingly enough, banana kind of notes to it. Papaya, white flour, and then that light oak at the end, which is going to pair nicely with a very hearty dish like this. And then our second wine, we did the DeLoach Private Reserve Pinot Noir. So this is from Sonoma Valley. This is a really rich, earthy kind of Pinot Noir. It's not overly fruitful, so it's going to pair nicely with a lot of the sides as well. The butternut squash is kind of more geared towards the Chardonnay, whereas the Pinot Noir is got all that fresh baking spice, even like forest floors, so it's like very rocky and earthy.
Beautiful. Looking forward to trying those.
You should.
What I did here was I seared this chunk of meat all the way around, locked in those juices, right? I'm going to take a baking sheet here. We're going to set our oven to 300 degrees. I'm going to throw the whole thing right on a baking sheet, a little more salt and pepper, and we're going to pop that right in there.
All right.
300 degrees. Leave it in there. A lot of people get really worried because it's a very expensive cut of meat that they're going to overcook it. If you leave it at 300, you'll not overcook it. You can leave it in there for an hour and a half and it'll still stay medium rare on the inside.
Slow and low.
That's exactly what we're doing. And so to make with that today, we're going to do a Pinot Noir reduction, which a little bit of the wine that we're drinking today.
That's why I chose it.
In a saute pan. Nice sizzle there. A little chunk of butter. And we have a little bit of beef stock here.
Perfect.
Just a little beef stock for that beef flavor. We're also going to use some of the juices from our Chateau, and we're just going to let that reduce down, a little salt and pepper, and we're going to let that off to the side to cook.
Excellent.
Okay? And then our little vegetable that we're making today, because it is, it's getting cold, butternut squash is a perfect thing to pair with this. So I have some chunks of butternut squash, which I've already peeled and de-seeded, and we're just going to kind of cube it up like this.
And we're cooking this in the pan?
We're going to start it in the pan with a little olive oil, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. Because it's a dense vegetable, so we want to get that little charred flavor on there, and we're going to go right into a hot pan with that. Start sizzling there. Salt, pepper. A little bit of our rosemary that we have chopped. And we're just going to let that cook a little bit, caramelize, and then we're going to pop it in the oven.
Sounds good.
We've seen how all our flavors here are starting to come together. We're going to turn that to about a 6, and we're just going to let that reduce. We don't want it to break.
Nope.
And we have our squash going here. So same thing with our squash. We're going to pop this on a sheet pan as soon as it's caramelized a little bit, and we're going to throw it in the oven, same temperature, and just let it cook.
Awesome.
And they'll come out together when they're done.
So easy.
So this is a perfect recipe for holidays, just a regular dinner party, because who wants to cook 12 filet mignons individually? Nobody. So we're going to take this chunk out, slice it up, fan it out, family style, so you can just set it, forget it, go back, slice it up, and you're done. You're not worried about fire alarms and cooking out on the grill when it's freezing cold or any of that.
We don't need any of that.
No. So, through the magic of TV in the VINO Live studio, we have a beautiful chunk.
There we go.
This is the tail piece that we've cooked ahead of time. We're going to set that there and let that rest. We're going to throw this right back in the oven. And look at that. It's magic. We have some of our diced squash that's already olive oil, salt, pepper, rosemary is all you need on here.
Could you even do a little like cinnamon on that?
Sure, cinnamon, nutmeg, a pinch of cayenne, anything like that.
Absolutely.
Cooking is so much personal preference. If you have some ingredients that you know you love to use, feel free to incorporate them. We're just giving you a guideline of some recipes of stuff that you can make. And we have our beautiful butternut squash there. And we're getting close on there. We're going to add a little bit more beef stock.
So what do you want the consistency to be at the end when you want it to be?
You want it to be kind of nice and thick. The saltiness from the stock, the punch from the wine, you want to get all that, and then the butter is going to bring it all together.
Butter always does.
It always does.
I'm so proud.
That's right. So we have our chunk that we've let rest here. And so this you could feed probably 2-3 people with.
Yeah.
Just one piece of meat like this. And what we do is we just slice it nice and thin. You see how it's still nice and pink in there? That's a perfect medium. And that was in the oven for over an hour.
Wow.
So most people get really nervous when they're cooking meat like this because they're like, it's going to overcook. I got to touch, I got to temp it. When it's low like that, you can really set it and forget it. It's not going to overcook. Obviously, you don't want to go 2, 3, 4 hours. You want to turn it down. If you want to hold it in your oven, hold it about 200 and just let it sit in there. Okay? So we have our squash, and this is going to be our family style Chateaubriand that we're just going to fan out like that. We have our sauce that's finishing. Now, I want to try this white.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Let's see.
And I think you'll see there's like a lot of like more fruity kind of friendly flavors in there as opposed to an overly oaked Chardonnay from California. So it's going to be more friendly with a hearty, meaty dish like this. And I didn't want to overpower the squash either because that has a lot of sweetness to it on its own.
Right, that's going to go
Without
perfect with
cinnamon
that
or
squash.
anything else.
Right, those are going to play off each other perfectly. I just need a spoon here. And you don't want it to be thick like a gravy, but you don't want it to be ultra thin. You want it to be somewhere right in the middle. As you can see how it's reducing, we're getting a nice simmer. I'm going to take a spoon over the top of our meat and then around the plate. So you get all that Pinot Noir, you get that butter. Take a sprig of rosemary just for fun.
Little color.
Yep, and you're good to go. And
I'd be impressed if someone served that at a dinner party to me.
yes, and that's
So easy.
how easy was that?
Too easy.
Sometimes you just need the right direction. You could do that with any kind of fall vegetables. You could use eggplant if you wanted. You could use any type of squash. You could use a spaghetti squash, pull it out, and stand it up high, and that would be perfect for that. Otherwise, you have a beautiful Chateaubriand with some roasted butternut squash. And then for our red, we're going to test this. This is going to stand up to our meat. Is this going to stand up to the meat?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, I think it will.
See, it has that, it's that earthy, it's not overly fruity. For something like this, you don't want to overpower with fruit because there's so much going on the plate already. It just complements it nicely, earthy tones, kind of just the perfect pair.
Right, and we can even add more sauce as we go. If you like it very rare, I suggest putting the sauce on the bottom first and then fanning out the meat on top so it doesn't continue to cook, because that hot sauce will continue to cook. What do you think?
I think we did a good job.
Fun holiday dinner?
Absolutely.
Super easy. VINO Live. We've had some great stuff going on this season. We filmed on a boat, right? We filmed in studio. Cassandra's back, kicking some knowledge on the wine. If you guys are interested in any of these wines, go to vinovations.us and you can ship them right to your house overnight. Otherwise, VINO Live, Cassandra,
VINO Live.
Chef Kev D. See you soon.